Hi, my name is Brenda Titus. Thank you for joining me for my video series, My Year Recovering from Retinal Detachment. This is the 30-second video in my video series. If you haven't seen the previous videos, I hope you'll take a look at those first. And as a reminder, this is my personal journey. I am not a medical doctor. This is really for informational purposes. And so this shouldn't be taking the place of any medical intervention. So as I've been thinking about my journey, and it is kind of interesting, I decided to call this video series My Year Recovering from Retinal Detachment. And technically, I began this video series at about the anniversary of the first retinal detachment. And so I realized that really what I've been doing is my year 2 of recovering from retinal detachment. And I did get a piece of feedback at some point. Somebody said, well, I just want to know about the recovery. And the truth is that it is a journey, and it has been truly a journey for me every single step of the way. And so I'm thankful for the people who I've gotten a lot of views on the face down recovery video, especially, and there are some other ones. And so that is really exciting, but I appreciate anybody who takes a look at these and is able to get something from them. So as I was thinking about this, okay, so as a little bit of a reminder, I did video 31 about a month ago. And during that time, I had really shared about my magic tape right here, my magic tape. I'm still a little bit in shock over how much of a huge difference in my life putting a strip of tape on my lenses has been. And kind of as a refresher, I had an ophthalmologist who, they know that one of the complications is that I have a macular pucker. And so it impacts my central vision on this eye. And in doing so, it warps my vision, but it also bends my eye. And so I see double without my tape. So really, truly, I will say that I think I did my video, about a month ago, and I was just starting to try it. I've been doing it for over a month now, and it truly has been a game changer in my life. So if you happen to suffer from any kind of macular pucker or something like that, talk to your ophthalmologist about it. And they call it sometimes they'll call it spot patching. And so binocular occlusion, those were the two kinds of things for me. Somebody asked the other day, well, isn't this supposed to train your eye? And truly, this is something that could be a permanent issue. I think the other possibility would be that at some point I could have surgery on the macular pucker, but my understanding is that might be another vitrectomy, which if you've seen the prior videos or if you've been through a vitrectomy, I don't really want a third vitrectomy. So I'm learning to adjust and adapt. Probably one of the most complicated things really with having this tape in my eye around my lenses is that it truly means I always need to be wearing glasses because it does help that much. Once I take off glasses of any kind, then my vision, is warped and crooked and all of that. And so that's aggravating. Let's see. Oh, it does take a little bit of an adjustment when I put them on because it's like looking through dirty glasses. But then I get kind of used to it. And so I move on with that. The other interesting thing, and this is a new development since last time that I was here, I drove in the dark for the first time in a year and a half, about a month ago. And that was an adventure. I was in a very familiar place. I was near my office. I know, I was just out for dinner with some friends. And so I knew that it was kind of this is going to be a test before I truly have to drive in the dark on a regular basis to go from home from work. And so I did give it a try. The big thing that I realized is that having this strip of tape and then the headlights coming at me basically feels almost exactly the same as having a cataract. So the light bounces off of this eye, and so I quickly realized that I was going to be driving single-eyed for the rest of the way home. And like I said, it was pretty close. So it really was just kind of a testing the waters on some things. I've been doing some research, and in a future video, as it starts getting to be darker, I will I'll share what I've learned. I'm still in the midst of learning that. Let's see. Also, since the last video, I started using some blue blocker lenses, and so and I'm going to be doing a separate video talking about blue light. And I also have been learning a lot from some people on YouTube and through podcasts about kind of some additional issues that I hadn't really ever discussed with my doctor. And that's going to be a big theme for this episode in particular. So I just wanted to share two people that I have found that I've gotten a lot of great information from. First is his name is Dr. Sam Berne, and it's Berne. And he, most of the work that I've found has been through his on the podcast app, and he's had a lot of just kind of varying, interesting information. I think he's kind of a complementary practitioner, a holistic health practitioner. But his degree is in vision and ophthalmology, but since I'm a hypnotist, I do like to think about the emotional and therapeutic and mental processing of what I've been going through. And he gave me a lot of really interesting things to think about and to process. And so, if you're interested in doing some more internalized, intuitive kinds of work, I recommend taking a look at him. I really have enjoyed, he will have different, episodes where he'll do a session with somebody, and he really gets into this idea of, the emotional issues behind the vision challenges. And so it has been really interesting. Some of his videos are audios are short and kind of quick and informational, talking about, blue light. The things that I've been especially interested in have been blue light, dry eye stress, and then, and sometimes just the overall emotional, mental, psychological elements around vision challenges. So, definitely take a look at him. Like I said, on the podcast, Dr. Sam Berne. He does have some YouTube videos as well. So, take a look there. Now, I have also found somebody else that I definitely recommend. He has a lot of different topics. So depending on where you are in your journey, his name is Dr. Eye Health. And Dr. Eye Health is an optometrist, ophthalmologist. I'm not exactly sure his qualifications. He does work in an eye clinic. He is an eye doctor, and but he's also doing a lot of social media, and he's had some really great informational things. I've found that sometimes some of his things that I've watched have been a little bit older, but even still really helpful information about, like I said, the things that have been important to me in my journey right now. Blue light, dry eye. He talks a lot about dry eye, partly because he suffers from dry eye. So he really understands how complicated and how difficult it is. And he also talks quite a bit about eye stress. I've also seen some videos about night vision, and so I'm looking forward to researching some more about that. And so I wanted to share some of that. So part of the reason that I'm sharing so much about all of the things that I have learned is that I do spend quite a bit of time really thinking about, what's happening to me, what has happened to me, what am I going through, and because that's kind of part of my personality. It helps me when I can understand and process, and especially because, I mean, the truth is that this has been a major life changing event for me. They said on day one, your vision will never be the same. And that was just with one eye retinal detachment. And truly, there is a reality. Now, I've learned a lot from this process, especially when we talk about eye stress, that I need to, relax into the process, and not be so anxious and forward thinking about it, and just kind of, go with the flow. It is hard because every time I go to my doctors and I say, well, but I need to get back to my life, and I'll say, I need to be able to, drive here or drive there. And I mean, and I've been able to do quite a bit. And, and especially now that I have this new spot patching on my eye, that has helped me be able to get out into the world a bit more. Still working on some things that make it more pleasant to do my day job as well, and be able to fully live. But yeah, it has been, a pretty substantial life-altering experience, and which gets me to the topic of the video, because even though it has been very difficult and very frustrating and a lot longer of a journey than I expected it to be, I can find gratitude and appreciation for the journey that I've had. And I do think that is important to acknowledge. I recently took a hypnosis for pain training as a professional, so learning about it as a professional. But I was really aware of what I have been going through, and so I was kind of learning some things about how to think about my pain or discomfort in a different way, and that has really helped me quite a bit. And so using some of the tools and skills that I am aware of professionally to be able to help me. So the other part of that, though, was they said, the key is that there is pain, there is discomfort. First, I'm learning to hear the signal, understand the signal of the cycle of some of my discomfort cycle, so that I can more quickly address it with eye drops or rest or a warm compress or cold compress or what have you. So that is something that has been really important. But they did remind me in this training that, just because we're in pain or in discomfort doesn't mean that we have to suffer. And so I am, really trying to, it's why I do this video series. It helps me be able to learn and grow, and then be able to share with other people. So, and I love it when I see, that people are watching my videos. It really means so much to me. And so it gives the journey purpose. So in the hypnosis office, we often use this phrase, and we'll say, well, if I knew then what I know now. And often we say that, like, well, if I knew, back in that first night at the hospital when I had a panic attack, that I'd be here over a year and a half later, being able to help other people, or even to be in the state that I am, and the changes that I've had. It would have helped. It would have helped me know, I'm gonna live. I will have vision. I will have a large semblance of life still, and all of those things. And it might have even helped to have known back then, what? This is gonna take some time. Just relax and go with the flow. That would have been helpful to have known back then. I probably would have relaxed more. Instead, I think I spent a lot of time pursuing what's wrong with me, what can I do to make it better, why isn't it better faster, and all of that. And so I think that's my big regret there. I would have just said, okay, I'm gonna just relax instead of frustrating my doctors and frustrating myself and all of that. So yes, I wish I could have fast tracked all of this as well, and just gotten to all of the wisdom, gotten to all of the things that I needed to know through this journey. But the truth is that there is an important part around the journey itself. As they say, it's not just the destination, it is the journey. And it is why, ultimately why I wanted to do this process on YouTube and be able to share, because I knew even before I started my videos that I had a whole year of ups and downs. I didn't realize that I would still have so many ups and downs. I mean, I've been doing these videos for 9 months, and I'm getting there though, which is great. I feel like I'm getting to where I need to be able to live comfortably and embrace all of the parts of the journey, and not be so frustrated and not be so uncomfortable and all of that. So I truly, when we talk about, the part of the removal of suffering becomes the gratitude that I can say, I've learned so much. I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about eyes and vision, and that has helped me be able to communicate with other people. I actually, do that with my clients all the time now, because as I'm learning things, it helps me be able to share with them. And so I really do appreciate that. And so I just really wanted to share that today, as I think about kind of this next step and next stage. So I wanted to share, just kind of like today on this video, an update, just kind of share what I've been thinking and how this has been feeling, and really recognizing and acknowledging that, we all go through various challenges, and it's true, there are hard days. I admit it, I have very hard days, and but when I come here, I really want to share and and help other people, and know that this is something, retinal detachment and the cataracts and vitrectomies and dry eye and all of these different challenges, there is hope, and it can take a while, but stick with it, okay? And in the next few videos, I'm going to kind of actually be more specific in a few different topics. So I'm looking at my notes here. We're going to talk about selecting glasses. Yes, I'm going to do a whole video on that, because it has been a really interesting adventure for me, and some things I would like to share. And so that's going to be more educational. I'm going to talk about dry eye, and also I'm going to talk about blue light, and some kind of eye and vision stress issues along the way, because like I said, I never realized how much stress and pressure, or whatever that goes on in my eyes until now. And now I really realize that we hold a lot in our eyes. Now our eyes are attached to our brain, and so it is really important that we take care of them. So often it is true that when I talk to people and they say, I mean, it is scary to think about losing your vision, even partially losing one's vision. I think that we all really understand how scary that is, and how much we rely on our eyes. So I'm always going to be the one to remind you, take care of your eyes. If you have things like, dry eye, or, anything else, know that, there's a lot of information available out there to be able to help you. Talk to your doctor, and see what you can do to get some relief, but not only to get the relief from things like dry eye, or the stress and tension, it's also really important to do that to prevent further damage as well. So, so it's not only to make you feel better, but it is also really important to be sure that you're taking care of your vision so that you can see and enjoy the world for many years to come. And so with that, I want to thank you again for joining me. I hope that you're learning from this journey. And again, if you haven't seen my prior videos, I definitely recommend that you take a look at the prior videos, a lot of the ups and downs of my journey. And I will be back in the future to talk about lenses and glasses and blue light and dry eye. So I will be back before too long. Have a great day.